Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Good morning, Tom. Hey, we're going to dispense with the chitter chatter today. We are just going to get right to the important stuff. Do me a favor, Tom, and show me that graphic you just created that you were so proud of. Please. I know the world is dying to see that graphic. So could you please put that up for me if you don't mind?
Really? This is the way this is going to start?
So, folks, we are talking about, this is our workshop that's coming up. It's a free workshop. If you are a renegade, if you think you might be a renegade, if you're just trying to figure out what's standing in your way and how to get past it, plan for one of those two workshops on March 22nd at either 10 a.m. or at 7 p.m. We are going to go through a really powerful exercise to help you figure out what's standing in your way really clearly and how to get past it. And I'm picking on Tom because right before the program, he used a description of this graphic that was different than any description he's ever given to anything we've worked on in almost a year. And it just was so compelling to me. What was it you said, Tom? Do you remember?
I said this wasn't very good, but we'll use it.
Okay, I thought it was more graphic, and it wasn't obscene. It was just,
yeah, I said it sucked. But all those things to beat myself up, use the word but, crazy.
Oh my, it's good time. So folks, let me set the real stage for you. In addition to that workshop, which you definitely want to plan for, it's on Monday the 22nd again. That's Tom Brush. I'm Bob Graham, and this is today's Antidote. And we do this program every weekday morning with one distinct goal. It started with a simple goal, and we've kept true to that for almost a year. And that goal is to give you one thing to consider to figure something out today, to improve what you're doing, whether you're a business leader, whether you're an owner, whether you're an entrepreneur. This is your chance to really dig in and say, hey, I can change something little that might have a big result. And Tom and I started this because we wanted to help each other and ourselves. And it's grown to a full, a group. We have a Facebook group now, Ring of Renegades, of over 800 people. We've got dozens of other people paying attention to us when we make them. I mean, we're really onto something here, Tom. So with that, we're doing our wrap up this week. And our topic this week has been renegades. Are you a renegade? And we've been talking it from various facets. And so our Friday program is when we do our wrap up, where we talk through what did you discover this week in our discussions? Because one of the things that Tom and I have noticed is in these discussions, they often go in directions that neither of us expected. At least twice a week, one of us goes, wow, I didn't see it going that way. And so we like to have this Friday discussion where we just bring together what we've discovered over the course of the week. So Tom, do you want to kick that off? I've talked enough for the morning.
I was wondering if I was going to get it. I was actually watching the time to see, maybe I'll just let Bob do the whole show. That might be a fun way to start a Friday morning. Well,
apparently your thought isn't alone. I see a comment. Wow, Bob, a little over the top this morning. How many cups of coffee? I only drink decaf.
You only drink decaf?
Oh, caffeine.
I don't drink any. Never, ever had a cup of coffee.
Can you imagine how wound up I would be if I drank caffeine? I mean, really. No one would win from that. So I'm smart enough not to go down that highway.
That is being a real renegade, Bob. Way to go. Way to forge your own path and not be reckless. Not being Bob would definitely be reckless.
Oh, that was good.
So we've been talking about renegades all week, and we talked a little bit about what are they. We asked the question, are you one? We talked a little bit about what they aren't. and how to find others. And I think, the interesting thing for me, I think throughout the week, as much as I love talking about this topic, I think that I never thought until I said it yesterday that really where you would find other renegades is people who you may disagree with, people who may be sharing something that is not exactly what you think. And I find that interesting because we talk a lot about, we want people in the ring of renegades to join because you're in a community. And at the same time, you're in a community of people who, while we think alike and we don't think alike. We think alike in that we believe that we are walking our true path. We are going what is real and unique for each of us. And while doing that, we still have other things in what makes us real that are very different from everyone else. And I think what I've loved about this is that, and I don't want to jinx us, we've gone a year and the group has stayed very much on purpose, very much about, and we haven't even had to eliminate a lot of people or delete a lot of messages, or, it hasn't been, let me just come in there and,
sell.
Right. Shamelessly plug exactly everything that I'm doing and what's going on and whatever. It's really been about people adding value and serving one another. And I think that to me is maybe the thing that makes me know that this is a group of renegades, that these are people who are willing to share what's real for them and to listen to what's real for others and really take a moment and stop and say, that's interesting. I had never thought about that perspective. I hadn't had that experience. So I didn't know that. Or, wow, that's some really good knowledge that is helpful to help me move forward. And I think, that to me is maybe the thing that I've taken away most from this week is the idea that we can be real and we can allow others to be real in the same space and create a community.
It's funny. I took the same thing away when you said that yesterday. It kind of struck me as well, because if we're in a community where people tell us, yeah, you're right, yes, keep doing that, and they don't challenge you or test you or say, you say to me sometimes, what about the subject line? And it's something that 6 months ago we wouldn't sweat. Now we agonize over some of those things, and we look for as many points of view as possible. And I think the more points of view we bring to the table, it's not just being a renegade, it's helping us find our path. If 5 people tell you, don't go that way, don't go that way, don't go that way, you might not go that way. But if you come to a crossroad and there's no one to tell you which way to go, you've got 2 choices. Or if you believe, and I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago who said, there's one pathway. There are no detours. He was trying to convince me that it's a straight line. If you do the right things, you won't have any problems. And I was like, do tell me what the right things are. I was going to say. I will pay you good money if you can tell me what the right things are for my business. Please, you'll save me a whole lot of time. He's like, well, I don't know for your business. And I said, okay, what for your business? And he gave me a list of 3 things. But those 3 things, I said, well, what about this? One was hiring the right people. I was like, really? You're going to hire the right people? You think how many people do you need? Oh, about 20. I can tell you right now, you will not hire 20 people and have 20 people that continue with your company. There's about a 0 chance.
Right.
And he's like, no, I've got this system and okay. And I think that's what happens. The people that believe that it's a straight line, they're not renegades. They're not considering other points of view. If he had been a renegade, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him, but if he had been a renegade, he would have said, really? How many of those 20 do you think I'm going to get right? 4, 5, 7, if you're lucky. And then the question after that would be, what do I do about this? that's where the growth is. That's where the line that you're actually trying to go down is when the person says to you, hey, this, I see it differently. Have you considered this? You and I don't, when we're working with people, we're not telling them what to do.
No.
We're just asking questions and saying, hey, have you considered this? This might be a roadblock. This might be problems. Or this might be the greatest thing in the world for you. Oh, I never even thought about that.
I think what happens is that when you think that there is a straight path, there is a right path. I'll go back to that. That you don't leave open the opportunity for what happens when. Because I don't know anybody who hasn't run into that and said, well, what happens when this happens? Now what? And if you think there is only one pathway, I can imagine that person, once they hired their 20 people, felt like they were in great shape.
Done.
Right. Wash my hands of it. I don't have to do it. I've hired them correctly. Now I can walk away and let them do their job. And here's the funny thing is I think so many people, that's what they do. We think we've hired the right person, when in reality, all we've done is made our best guess based on a little bit of time and a little bit of information to determine if this is the right person for the position. And what's interesting, I think, as you rightly shared, is how many people, what's the average tenure of a position? I know in the nonprofit world, it's about 18 months, especially if you're a fundraiser, and it might even be less today. So yeah, all those people thought they hired the right person. And at some point, likely they stopped supporting them because they thought they were the right person. And it wasn't long before they became overwhelmed, frustrated, uncertain, and now determined that this was no longer the right place and it was time for them to move on. So I think that when you close your mind down to, I've got it right, this is the one way, likely you're going to run into more hurdles than the person who is willing to say, I know there are hurdles. I know there's curves and bumps along the road. And I just hope that I am as prepared as I can be when they show up, and that they don't derail me. They're just a momentary pause. And I can say, okay, what did I learn? What might I do differently? And then we can move forward and move ahead.
Or perhaps I've surrounded myself with the people that have been down that road before and can tell me where the potholes are, or have been down similar roads and can point out some of the really great sights along the scenery, that I might miss as I'm driving down that road because I'm so focused on getting to my destination. Well, make sure there's a beautiful church with great stained glass. Oh, wow. I would have missed you if you hadn't told me that. And I think that's what we get. I want to work in Tim's comment here real quick. Some of my best aha moments were provided by those that thought very different from me. Having someone challenge your preconceived notions is one of the best ways to see them and get over them. And I think that's one of the things that I see with business leaders and owners. I was working with some entrepreneurs last night in a workshop, and there was a lot of, well, I know this is what they need. It's like, okay, how do you know that? Well, I just know. Okay, would you consider doing some research to see if that's valid? Well, how would I do that? Well, you can look for government surveys. You can look for surveys from the industry. You can ask people.
Simplest answer.
And one of the people said, it was funny, after I went through a couple of possibilities, she said, but what if I'm wrong? And I said, that's a great question. That's a perfect question. What if you are wrong? And she's like, my whole business is based on this idea. And I said, well, frankly, I'd rather know I'm wrong, as you describe it. I don't like the word wrong, but I would rather know that before I invested a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money into that. If you're driving down the road and you hit a dead end, I would have preferred to have seen the sign 6 miles back as I'm winding through the woods going, this is not going to work, that said dead end ahead, because then I can turn around. And so over time, she started to realize that it wasn't the end of the world. because I said they're going to give you clues to what the changes are. They're not going to say that's completely wrong and then walk away. They're going to go, that's not what I need, but could you do this thing? Could you maybe add this to it? And she said, really? And I said, that's how that process works. And I think the more we can accept that, okay, this doesn't work for you. What would work for you? How close am I? And that's one of the things you see. I've done focus groups where with the focus group, you basically ask target audience, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing. Tell us what you think. And sometimes they love it. Sometimes they don't love it. But the best part is when they start to say, well, when you said that name, I kind of thought it would do this thing. And like, right, feverish, it's like, okay, yeah, keep going. It's very powerful, and it's part of what I think we're helping, because when you go through that, it can be very shattering, would be the word I would say. As you have this thing you've thought through completely, and you've got the map and everything's great on it, and then someone says, no, that's not going to work the way you think it is. That can be really difficult. And I think that's another reason why you have to have that community of people that understand this. I know I could go into that Ring of Renegades group and post, I just had one of my customers tell me that my next thing is just so off, and they'd be like, oh, I've been there, done that. And someone would say, and what are you going to do about it? Right. Not, oh, that's horrible. Guess you're out of business, move on.
And I think that, what you helped for that woman is you changed, or that person last night, is you changed their reality. You changed what's real for them. They now are stopping to say, maybe my perspective was off a little bit and I need to think about this differently. You have now helped them become a renegade, to say that, wow, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe that me sitting in my office figuring it out isn't the only way to do it, that there might be another solution if I'm willing to say that this is just what's real for me. And I need to identify what's real for others, then I can move forward.
So, Tom, before you give us your one thing, how about if we tell people about our clubhouse? There's a clubhouse today at 11:30 Eastern. 11:30 Eastern time. I read the sign wrong. And that's our lessons learned and shared. It's an opportunity for you to get into Clubhouse and talk to other entrepreneurs, business leaders about what they've learned this week. And we did this last week, and it was really insightful. I found it to be really rewarding time spent. So if you're someone with an iPhone or an iPad and you're not on Clubhouse yet, let us know. We will send you an invitation, and it's invitation only. You can come into the room, you can share, you can listen. I will confess that sometimes when I'm in that room, I'm actually checking my email at the same time. But because it's over the phone, no one can know that. That as long as I hit mute, you'd never know that I'm checking my email. Or sometimes I was doing push-ups during one of them. Yeah, I was doing push-ups. That's why I didn't answer right away when someone said something, because I was out of breath. But I
ask you questions all the time just so that I make sure you're paying attention.
Well, and here's the thing, Tom. I'm thinking I may start doing my walks during those clubhouses and just get out, have my headphones in, and walk around my neighborhood while we're talking, because you can do two things at once in that regard. So if you're looking for some background music, such that it is, Clubhouse is a place to be. We'll be there at 11:30 this morning. And I see Tim's got another comment. I think you're getting the quote of the week, Tom.
Woohoo!
There might be another solution if you're willing to say this just might be what's real for me, and there could be other realities. And Tim says, excellent insight. I would agree. I'm glad he highlighted that. I heard that and I was like, oh, that's a great thing to remember. And I moved right on. So thank you, Tim, for putting it up there for us, keeping us on our toes. So Tom, what's your one thing this week as we wrap up the week?
Yeah, that's hard. I think
that's why I let you do it.
About what is a renegade, I think is important. What is it not? And how do you find others? I mean, within all of those, there were interesting things. And so, I mean, I should go back and re-listen and figure out what is the thing. But I think the takeaway I would have is that we all can choose to be a renegade. We just have to open our mind to the opportunity that there are other realities out there. And that if we start to ask the question, why? I was thinking about I was sharing that with someone yesterday in a conversation about, it was a nonprofit organization and a group of them, and they were trying to figure out, like, well, how do I know why someone is so passionate about the organization, or why they wanted to be a volunteer or a board member or donor? And so just go ask them why. They said, well, I thought that this might be important. And then keep saying why. I find that is a great, powerful question to keep pushing people to really explore what is at the truth, what lies beneath the kind of upper level conversations that we have, to get deep into who and what they are. And I think we start to then understand that there are other ways of how people think. And again, why they would choose to support an organization, for example. If you sat around a table of 12 board members, they each have their own story. You and I, everyone in the ring of renegades, every business owner out there has their own unique story, just like they have their own unique pathway. And I think when we stop to ask, we have the opportunity to gain knowledge, experience, and perspective, and they are all going to be unique. And we can't listen to that and not have our what's real for us be influenced. And so I think that if you are willing to see that there is another way, to ask yourself why am I thinking this or feeling this way? Why would I assume that I'm right and that everyone else is wrong? Why would I assume that there's only one path and it's a straight path? If you're willing to ask that question of yourself, the challenge is it's hard to do because you know what you know. Your experience is what it has been. Your perspective is what it has been. So if you want to choose to go out and find others and have that influence, you are a renegade. And I think, and it doesn't matter whether you own a business, whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, whether you're the person at the checkout store, at your grocery store, you're just a member of a team, whatever it might be, you have the opportunity to be a renegade if you choose to just keep asking the question why. Why do we do it this way? And if you are willing to say, there's nothing wrong with the way we've done it, and there might be another way. So I think that would be my one thing.
That's nice. I like it. I was going to suggest that renegades believe that doors are open, not closed. And there's always another way, a door to walk through to find out something new. And, I think of art museums where you walk through one room and you see beautiful works, and then you go in the next room and there's a more beautiful work. And then you go in the next room and it's like, wow, I've been to these 7 rooms. I couldn't believe that there was so much beauty in each of these rooms. I think that's how renegades look at the world. There's so much opportunity. There's so many things. Let me go through another door and another door and another door, so that over the course of time, we're going through all these doors that most people don't even know exist.
That's an interesting that you would say that. It's great lead into what our topic is next week. Do you know what our topic is next week?
Not a clue.
It would be the renegade way. The renegade way might be you're just always expecting that when you open a door, there'll be another door to go through.
Wow.
You.
So now people don't have to watch next week because we've just covered the whole week in one simple sentence.
I don't know.
No, come back next week, people.
Well, because I know that next week we'll give you 5 opportunities to do this.
No.
If you haven't received your copy of The Renegade Way, Bob, I'm sure we'll talk about this next week. It's easy to do. Just go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com and you can order your own copy of it as well. You like how I did a little shameless plug for you there, Bob?
That was good. No, I'm going to hold up this book for the week. No, that's the old book.
Soft skills. Anyhow, folks, thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed our conversation this week about renegades, and we hope that you found something in there that was useful and helpful. and that throughout our one thing, you have been able to identify a little more what's real for you. Please share what your one thing might be this week about. Maybe just share why you're a renegade. I think it would be a great topic to share, whether you're watching this live or watching it recorded. Why you're a renegade might help someone else say, I had never thought of that. Maybe that is something that will influence my knowledge, experience, or perspective and change, or at least impact what is real for me. So if you're not a member of our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, please join us in the Ring of Renegades. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can ask to join. It is a private group. And so we do want to create a space where people are able to share what's going on with them and know that others are going to be there to support, maybe offer a suggestion, or at least some understanding that they've been there and they know what they're going through. So if you would like to be a part of that, all you have to do is tell us why you're a renegade. And you can become a part of our growing group who are trying to take the next step along their own unique pathway to success. So we look forward to seeing you there. Maybe we'll see you at Clubhouse at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time today. And if not, we'll see you back here Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next